Algunas personas nunca apoyan a los misioneros. He oído decir que es demasiado caro, que no se puede, que es un fraude o demasiado gasto. Algunos creen que solo debemos de cuidar nuestros propios hogares y es el caso omiso de otras naciones. Yo no soy de este país y me alegro que un misionero viniera a mi país y me enseñara sobre el nombre de Jesús. Me bauticé en el nombre de Jesús y fui lleno del Espíritu Santo. And now I am a missionary to America.
Here's a faith promise account for you. Recently in one of our churches, there's a couple who have every year made a faith promise commitment for years and years. They believe this and they live it. The husband's been having some health trouble. So he, in that service, made a commitment together with his wife to give to foreign missions. After this area they were in suffered a hurricane. He lost his job. Not only that, but right after that, he had a health problem that put him in intensive care for several days. He came out with about a $250,000 hospital bill. Said, we don't know how we're going to pay this. His dear wife said, I think I know the way. She said, let's increase the faith promise commitment we just made. He said, all right, we might as well. We can't pay anything else. And so they did. They increased their amount. A few days later, she called the hospital to find out how they could set up a payment plan and take care of this massive bill. And the hospital administrator said, just a minute, let me check on your account. Called up her file. She said, ma'am, I don't know what you're talking about. According to my records, this entire amount has just been paid. Faith promise works. Recently on a Sunday night, pastor pointed out a man in his congregation and he said, help me pray, that man needs a better job. So the one he has keeps him out away from church so many weekends and he just can't hardly make it. So we did. Right there on the platform, we prayed for this brother. The next day, as I came back to St. Louis, my phone rang that evening and the pastor said, do you remember the man we prayed for last night? I said, yes, I do. Needed a better job. He said, yes, that's the one. He said, last night that man made a $1,000 a month commitment to Faith Promise. He said, this morning, before he could leave for work, his phone rang. Somebody called him up and gave him a brand new job, making $2,000 a month more than he had been making and working no weekends. Faith Promise works. Not too long ago in a Faith Promise service, a young couple walked forward hand in hand, laid their commitment card on the altar, and they were really broken, tears, praying. I didn't realize what their prayer was about, but they were praying for a child. Several years now they'd been trying to have children, and all the doctors and specialists told them it was medically impossible for them to conceive. 11 months later, I walked back into that church for a follow-up Faith Promise service. The same young couple walked up and laid in my arms twin baby girls and said, these are our Faith Promise babies. I'm telling you, Faith Promise works. Recently, one of our Bible schools was in a chapel presenting Faith Promise to those young people. There was a young man I noticed that when the group came forward to lay their commitment cards on the altar, the young man all of a sudden grabbed his cell phone out of his pocket and stepped out of the chapel. He walked out, was gone perhaps 5 minutes. He walked back in, and the tears were rolling down his face. He said, Brother Blake, could I say something? I said, absolutely. He said, everybody knows I've been out of a job and not been able to find a job all the time I've been here. I was just about to have to leave school, didn't know what I was going to do. He said, but I just made a Faith Promise commitment by faith, truly by faith. He said, no sooner had I laid that card on the altar than my cell phone rang, and folks, I just got a job. I'm telling you, Faith Promise works.